Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video. And for this week, I thought I would do exercise goals of 2025. So I did this last year. People seem to like it, so I'll do another one this year. And with January coming to an end, no better time, right? This year's goal is going to be similar to last year's. Last year, my goal was to lose 20 pounds. We'll do that same thing again this year. And, um, and yeah, yeah. One of my biggest goals this year is something that I have slacked on for, well, let's say the last 10 years. And that's like, I was skinny 10 years ago, right? Like I started gaining some weight in, I would say like 2018, 2019 is kind of when I started like noticing some weight gain. So back then I was skinny, and it's still something you should do when you're skinny, not just a lose weight type thing. And that is 10K steps. Now, I have always struggled with the 10K steps, so that is one thing I would like to work on this year. So I'm going to try my best to get those steps in. It used to be, of course, this was before I'd started putting on weight, and I really didn't need to lose weight back in these days, which will probably explain, it'll confirm my assumption that much more. But back when I used to work like warehouse jobs and stuff like that, I never had to worry about 10K steps because at work, I'd just be on my feet for 8 hours a day. And by the time I got home, I'd have 10K steps, So I never had to fit it into the exercise routine because, well, one, I didn't exercise back then. And two, I just naturally did it through work. But nowadays I work at home, and it's tougher to get 10K steps when you're not moving that much. So that's my biggest thing. I think we'll probably do better on that goal when there's no longer snow on the ground outside, when it's summer, or not even summer, just when there's no snow on the ground. So yeah, but it is winter, and it's going to be winter for, I would say, another month or two. So I guess we'll have to like walk around the house or something. Last year I was using the bike as an alternative, and nearing the end of the year, sometimes you talk to yourself. Well, I talk to myself all the time, but I had a moment where I'm like, stupid, and I'm like, no, the bike can't be an alternative, because walking, you're supporting your full body, and on the bike is supporting you. So no, it cannot be an alternative, because the bike is kind of easy mode when it comes to that, because you're not supporting your own body. So I now do not consider the bike an alternative. I still do the bike. Don't take that the wrong way. The bike is still good exercise, good cardio, but I don't think it should be a replacement for your 10,000 steps. Now, if you don't get your 10,000 steps and you bike instead, any exercise is better than no exercise, but I just don't think it's a good alternative. And I think no matter what, you should get your 10K steps and then do the bike later on that evening, right? The bike should just be its own exercise. So I'm going to tell you what my plan is. Monday to Friday, exercise. Saturday and Sunday, rest days. Last year I was doing Monday to Saturday. And you might be wondering, most people increase it. Why are you decreasing it by a day? And the reality is, last year I did really good. Finally found a program that I can stick to, and I wasn't falling off at all. So yay. So I feel very happy that I've found, a program that keeps me on track. But the reality is that it is very tiresome to do the amount of exercise that I am doing. And I also edit, I stream, I YouTube, so I really could just use the weekend off. A weekend where I'm not having to worry about, you know, I know you should get your 10K steps in absolutely every day, but I've, 2 days where I don't have to worry about that shit, because the reality is that's when you fall off, is when you're sick of having to worry about, did you get your 10K steps? Did we do our exercise? Blah, blah, blah. As long as you can have days where you kind of just skip out, as long as majority of the week you're doing stuff, right? So, I'll still try to get as much steps in on the weekends, but exercise we're not going to worry about on the weekends. So with that said, I'm going to tell you what I'll be doing Monday through Friday. And keep in mind that the one thing I won't be mentioning, because it would be redundant to mention every single time, is the 10K steps. So every single one of those days includes 10K steps, which I believe when you're not naturally doing it at a job or whatever, I believe it takes like 90 minutes. So you're looking at 90 minutes total to get your 10K steps in from consistent walking. And I find it kind of boring to like walk in place or even walk in a circle around the kitchen, that only lasts so long. So I usually do it in like 3 sets, which is kind of perfect. I'll, do like a quick little amount in the morning, one in the afternoon, one before bed, and boom, done, right? The only time I never have to worry about the 10K steps is if there's like an outing or something, like if I go to, say, a concert, or I go to, well, let's use the fair, because a concert, I still don't think I'd have 10K steps, because, yeah, the concert, you sit or stand in place and listen to the concert, right? But with the fair, you're walking around consistently, right? So I think a better example would be like in the summer, we have like a fair that comes around, and I'm usually out there for a while if I go. I go a lot less now. I'm older, I still like to go on rides and stuff, but I'm older, my friends are older, I just don't. I don't commit to things as much as when I was, a teenager or in my 20s or whatnot. So yeah, that's the closest I get without actually putting the work in. Okay, so for the exercise, Mondays is like a leg cardio. The leg cardio is usually around 30 minutes. And then I do weights after that, which is 20 minutes, which is going to be another topic. I'll talk about the weights after I tell you all the days. And then Tuesdays, I do a belly fat cardio, which is generally 40 minutes. And then I bike, and biking's like 20 minutes. On Wednesdays, I do a full body cardio, which is generally 40 minutes, and then weights again, 20 minutes. On Thursday, belly fat cardio, which is 40 minutes, and then biking 20 minutes. On Friday, I like to end the week off with like a fun activity. Not that those aren't all fun, but Fridays, it's just one activity, and it's dance. So I'll usually just, I've got a couple of routines I've picked up over the years, and I just, throw on the music, dance to them, and I do that for like an hour. Dancing is amazing exercise. It's probably one of the reasons I did stay fit for the longest time, because I always did dance. And I've got a memory that I remember. We used to have another roommate living here, so it was myself, Mark, who is my, he's my best friend that we have some videos where his voice is in them. He doesn't like being on camera. And then this other guy, Rob, used to live here. And I remember, and this was back when I was skinny, but I always loved dance. And I remember I had found out Rob had Just Dance on his Xbox, which he would keep downstairs. And he had like the whole like Just Dance pad, that you'd put on the ground. And I convinced them amazingly that that we should all dance. I was a lot hotter back then, so I'm pretty sure that's how I did it. My looks. but but yeah, so I convinced them to dance, and it was so funny. I was in shape back then, right? So I was breezing through this, and they were like huffing and puffing, like two grown men that don't exercise, right? And I still, like, a lot of the time when I think of like when I'm dancing and stuff, I remember that memory, and I remember that was the last time they ever did it. Yeah. That was back in the days where we gamed a lot together, like face to face. We did that, and we would play Wii Sports a lot. So yeah. Okay, so I said I would talk about the weights. So at the end of last year, I was doing weights with my best friend. We were doing the Bowflex. It's resistant training, and that was going really great. But I told him earlier in this month that I was going to stop doing that. There's a few reasons involved. We have different schedules. We have different goals. And I think resistance training works for him because he's an older person, so resistance weights is good for like older people with with possible body pains and stuff like that, I don't know if that's why it exists, but it's proven that that's the kind of people that it's good for. And that's not why I told him I wasn't going to do it, but I'm giving you all the reasons that were going through my head, so maybe you can understand why I would approach him and be like, you know what, I'm gonna, because I never dropped weights. I just decided to do dumbbell weights instead of resistance weights. That's basically the change, right? Which is what I was doing back in 2024 the whole time. And then near the end, he was always talking about how we should exercise together. And I knew damn straight I was going to have to be the instigator, right? So if anything, I helped to motivate him, and he can continue his journey. And once in a while, I'll join him. But I just didn't want to be reporting in type deal. That was my biggest thing, is that I was, if he had to cancel, then it sort of canceled my weight day. And because the reality is, you could be like, well, you could have done it anyway, but he couldn't exercise till 6. So if he was canceling, I wasn't knowing about it till the day is over, basically. And I do most of my exercise earlier, so that would have been the time where I would have thrown dumbbell weights in, right? So there's that. And then if I had to cancel, blah blah, and then there's also the reporting in and out, and I hate that shit. Like, I'm just gonna say, I hate reporting in and out. I absolutely one of my biggest pet peeves. And there were always interactions or interruptions. Like there was one time where the phone rang, and I was waiting around for him and he apologized for it, and I get it. His buddy called, but I'm very like, I take the exercise serious, and when we start and when we end, exercise is like the only focus, like no interruptions, phone off, you know what I mean? And yeah, and a lot of that has to do with that time frame, right? I'm always like that anyway, but especially at that time frame, because I stream in the evenings, I do YouTube, so like it was cutting into that. And on that topic, that was another reason I noticed I was losing like half my viewership because I wasn't starting at 6 anymore. You know, I've got some people that are a couple hours ahead, so 6 p.m. start time is 8 p.m. for them, and I would start at 8 because of the weight training, which meant it was 10 for them, and yeah, I was losing half my viewership, which you know, some days is money. So yeah, that was a big factor as well. And then the biggest one at the end of all that, I was like, okay, well, I don't like canceling, you know. He's my best friend, you know, but we've had fun working out together. I really didn't want to cancel, but with all these racking up, I'm like, okay, the final answer will be here. And my final thing was for me to find out if I really should be building muscle to lose weight, because I'd been the past few months of last year when I was doing my cardio and then the resistance training on the Bowflex, it was a battle. I'd lose weight with the cardio, then I'd gain it with the Bowflex, because you know, you're gaining muscle, so you're gaining pounds, and then I'd lose it and then gain it, and I was like, I'm getting nowhere, you know. Like, so that was like the final thing, right? I was like, okay, like, should I be doing this? And should it be the 3 days? Because we were doing it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so I looked into it, and they do suggest that you do not until you are, till you've lost like a good portion of your body weight. I can't remember what the percentage is, but a good percentage of your body weight, and then you build the muscle. So that was what led to me telling him, you know what, I'm just gonna break for a bit. But I didn't want to totally give up weights, not like 100%. So as you may have seen in my schedule that I did say, the weights are still there 2 days a week. So it's not 3 days, it's 2 days. It's the dumbbell weights, because I have been told and I've read that the regular weights will do more for you than the resistance. And that was proven to me. Yeah, because with the resistance, I was doing like 50 to 100 for some of those exercises. Shortly after, I had gone to my dumbbells and I was just lifting. They were like 20 pounds per, right? So 40. And that felt rougher than like the 100 pounds, you know, like on the resistance. So there is a difference for sure. I think the resistance is definitely better for form, probably, because you're not, you got stuff to help you with your form. You know, it's a whole machine, so you can easily adjust the weights and all that. So there are pros to it, of course. But right now, my major goal is losing weight. And while weights are in there 2 days a week, if, I don't know, say Monday I do leg cardio and I feel exhausted, I will not do the weights that day. Like, the weights are there because I feel we need to keep them in place, but the cardio is more important. You know, my order of importance right now is ultimate importance, 10K steps a day. I personally think that I could probably go all year without exercising, and if I at least did the 10K steps a day, you would probably see a skinny girl at the end of the year. Like, I think that's all I actually need, you know, for what my goals are right now. But I am doing more than that. But I do personally believe, like, I gained weight because I don't move anymore. Like, that's legit what it is. It's not food. I eat once a day, and I don't eat like super healthy, but I don't eat super unhealthy either. Like, I'm kind of like in the middle, you know? And yeah, so I'm not an overeater. If anything, I'm always told I should eat more. and and then, like, I sit as an example of how much I am sitting. This will probably sound outrageous, but trust me, if you're a person that sits as well, you'll believe it because you've done it as well. But if I don't actually try to put steps in, I am at most 1,000 steps. And sometimes we don't even hit that 4 digits. Sometimes it's like 800. Yeah. Because sometimes all it is for the majority of the day, as far as movement goes, is getting up from that chair, going to the bathroom, coming back. Getting up from that chair, go downstairs, get a coffee, come back. Like, that don't equal a whole lot of steps, you know? And yeah. And I really, like, unless I go out or I force the walks around the house, we really don't get our steps in. So I have, yeah, like, a part of me wants to make that like a challenge where we do no exercise and I just do 10K steps a day. But I'm getting older. I don't want to be making lose 20-pound goals for the rest of my life. I want this shit over, and I want to be at the point where I'm just maintaining weight again. So I really feel the need to throw extra stuff in. But I guarantee you, I almost guarantee you. And you know what? Maybe we'll see a bit of that. I do track all my exercises, and there are going to be days where I don't do the weights. There'll be days where I was supposed to be doing cardio, and we did absolutely no exercise that day. You know, last week I skipped 2 days of exercise because my last cardio day, like, made my legs so fucking sore that it hurt to walk around. And, you know, so there'll be days that shit happens. But I think for the most part, if we can get the 10K steps in every day, then you guys will see a noticeable change at the end of the year. Probably didn't see much of a change last year. I felt like I did good. But I know my progress more than you guys would. You just know what I tell you, right? I felt like I did good last year because I had finally found a system that works. I stayed on track. But not gonna bullshit. There were maybe 3 or 4 days last year where I hit 10K steps. Like, yeah. It was always like in the goal, but just never done, you know? Yeah. And I would have moments where I tried, and a lot of those moments I tried. We just never got to 10K. You know, I think on the days I tried, I got to 7K. So yeah. So that's the difference this year. I want to try to make sure that we get to 10K. A lot of the time it has to do with my schedule too, not to make excuses or anything, but, you know, I do a lot of YouTube content. I'm my own editor, you know, and work. There are many things in play, and yeah. So some days it gets tough to throw that much exercise in. It equals roughly like 3 hours of exercise every day, which is quite the commitment. Yeah, I took a picture of myself in like very beginning January. It's dated January 2nd. And at the end of the year, I'll take another picture and we can kind of, you know, compare them, see if I look slightly different. And you know, of course, it's like sometimes it's tough with me, right? Because I wear baggy clothes. So even on my skinniest days, sometimes I look overweight because I am not a like tight snug clothing person. Everything I own's like just like so baggy. Yeah. But but that's it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed. Good luck if you have some exercise goals that you plan on doing this year. Yeah, so in the comment section, let me know. Do you have some exercise goals this year? You know, what are the things you're gonna do to, you know, achieve those goals? Do you walk 10K steps a day, or do you struggle like I do? And yeah, I mentioned it in a past video, but that past video was like all my goals, like not just exercise, all my goals throughout the year. But I did mention in it that I wanted to start running, so that is one thing. But I think like I'm just gonna say, the fact that my legs end up sore kind of frequently through my cardio now, I feel like every 2 or 3 days of me doing cardio, my legs are sore. So I want to wait till we're kind of getting back in shape, you know, and yeah. But what I've been doing is every so often I'll do like a quick little jog for however long. It's not very long, guys. We can do like 3 minutes consistent. Yeah. And that's how I test it, because I can't go outside and fucking take a run if I can't even do more than 3 minutes, right? We got to get to the point where I can consistently jog for, you know, I would say at least 20, you know? So yeah. So what I think is, I think this year is going to be prepping for that. I think running is going to be a 2026 thing that we do, but I think this year we can prep to be able to run. Yeah. And yeah. It's funny because I used to run all the time. Yeah. Back when I was in high school, which was so long ago. But back when I was in high school, there was this place in Edmonton here where it was like a track, and you ran. There was a competition, and you know, I never got first. I was never that great of a runner, but I got third, which was really good. You know, so yeah, I was good, just not the best. But yeah. Anyway, enough ramble. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great week, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.